first feline of the day has arrived to see James and me.
Nico came to see me about a week ago and he'd had some sort of accident. Owners weren't completely sure exactly what happened, but they did see him fall from a garage roof. And since then, he came back home limping, right hind very sore, big bushy tail, lots of vocalising, lots of yowling, clearly quite painful. They brought him down to me a couple of days afterwards and he was still definitely not himself. He's had some anti-inflammatories, but there has been some intermittent lameness still there in that right hind.
Hello, Nico. He's so handsome,
He's
isn't he?
gorgeous, isn't he? He's a big boy as well.
He is. So what are you going to do today? This is his second examination.
So we've got him back today, basically to obviously give him a quick check over, just to double check to see if there's anything else going on.
Well, he's going to be well looked after by you, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he looks pretty chilled there. It's quite encouraging that he's able to manipulate underneath the table.
Yes, did you see
that?
that?
That's a good start. Yes. Let's see. Now then. You going to do some walks for us? Anything? Oh.
No, I'm going to go on here.
Come on. OK. Excuse me. We're trying to do some work here.
Come on, pussycat.
This is the thing with cats. You can only go at their pace, can't they?
Absolutely.
Okay. Cats are very, very good at basically coping. So they will kind of find ways to cope with the pain when actually behind the scenes there's quite some, quite serious injury there.
I hope he's insured, is he?
So he is insured, and that's one of the parts of insurance is that it sort of enables me to then do the investigations that we need to do. So the next step is we're going to do a sedation and then I'm going to take some x-rays.
I know cats never do as they're told, so hopefully Nico will succumb to James's charm later. Our next patient today is Dobby with his owner, Jenny.
He's a border terrier, is he?
A little border terrier, almost a year old.
Yeah, they have great personalities. I had a border terrier.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they're
he was an
tremendous.
escape artist, though.
He's not too bad.
And what's he here for?
He's having his testicles removed because he's only got one, descended.
OK.
We call him the one-ball wonder. But so they have to be removed if they're not descended, as I understand it.
Oh, right. So they're going to
boy.
operate today.
They're operating today.
Well, you're going to be all right, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, I'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, you're a good boy.
In charge of Dobby's operation today is vet Amy and veterinary nurse Ella, who will be monitoring his general anaesthetic.
We're just going to put a cannula into his vein so that we've then got access to his vein to knock him out.
A testicle that hasn't descended properly is known as cryptorchidism. It's believed to be an inherited condition and affects around 1 in 10 dogs.
So this is Dobby's retained testicle here.
Ah,
So
this
you
is
can
the
just
one
see.
he's got.
So that's the one that's down in the scrotum, so
There's
that will be the
someone-
straightforward one to remove. And then the other one is here. So you can probably feel it, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Because it hasn't descended fully, it's at a higher temperature than it should be, so it's at risk of cancerous changes, which is why we need to remove it.
Yeah, because they have to be outside the body to cool down.
Yes, exactly. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to do it just through one incision.
That's amazing.
Which means that he'll have fewer wounds to heal,
Yeah.
less risk of infection, he'll be more comfortable.
Poor lad, look at him. And he won't remember anything about it.
No, he'll just wake up a bit surprised and wondering what's happened. So we just clip it up, make sure it's all nice and sterile.
Dobby is now prepped and ready to move into theatre. We're not required to mask up for this procedure. Anything more than a skin incision is when it's recommended to avoid infection.
You've all got your hats on. If I'm doing this properly... You'd tell me if I looked ridiculous, wouldn't you?
Amy will remove the descended testicle first, then proceed with the one that's retained, which could be a bit trickier.
So you've made the incision.
Make the incision.
You've popped out the one...
Popped. So this
Descended.
is the descended testicle.
Yes.
So that's the testicle there and all the blood vessels and spermatic cord. We'll use a little clamp.
Right, that stops the blood
So that
coming
stops the
through.
blood, yeah.
Right, and then snip.
So put two more. So I just have to use some suture material first to tie the blood vessels off.
And is this one of the early operations that you learn when you're at vet school?
Yes, one of the ones that we learned very early on and then practiced as qualified vets. So that's one testicle removed.
Looks as if it should be in a dumpling. Now we've got to find the missing one. Dear Dobby, you're doing well, mate. You can feel it?
Yeah.
Is it coming?
Yeah, well. Ooh. So it is a little bit more fiddly because there's a bit more soft tissue.
Well, I don't think I can look at that at the moment. That's kind of quite red, should we just say. It's making me feel a bit uncomfortable.
There we go. Phew. So there we go.
There it is.
There's the second testicle. Quite significantly smaller than the first one.
So that's it, it's done.
Yeah, it's done. Both testicles removed. Just the stitching up to do now.
Can we just turn him over?
British Shorthair Nico is about to have an X-ray to help James determine why he's showing lameness in his back legs.
He's such a beautiful cat.
He's been given a mild sedation to keep him still and is under the watchful eye of vet nurse Ella. I've realised that X-rays are an important part of diagnostics, allowing the vets to plan the next step of the treatment.
Okay, if we have everybody out, we'll take these X-rays. Okay, X-rays. Right, that's beautiful. Let's see what that shows.
As soon as the X-ray images come in, there's concern, and James asks fellow vet Amy for her opinion.
It's quite obvious that his right is sore, and then sometimes you almost kind of think his left has gone as well. My initial worry would be whether that pelvis has fractured, but I think that might be a bit of rotation.
Yeah.
But we've still got this over the femoral head. I just wonder whether this is a bilateral femoral head fracture.
I think so, definitely there.
It's not sounding too good for young Nico. While he slowly wakes up, I'm curious to know what that means for his future.
What we can see here is where the ball is, and where normally then the would connect to the top of the femur. That sort of, we've got this sort of grey line on both sides, which I'm just a little bit worried about whether that is actually a fracture. So essentially the ball has fractured off the bone.
On both sides?
On both sides.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
What do we do next?
Well, rather than a full hip replacement, we just take the bones away because it's the bone on bone that hurts.
Yeah.
Then the muscle around that back leg can sort of build up to try and
Secure it
support
again.
and secure it. But if he needs that on both sides, I don't think we're going to be able to do it under one operation. So he'll then need 2 operations, one on each side of the hip. I'm going to ramp up his pain relief quite significantly, and he's also not going to be allowed to walk around very much. So I'm going to suggest that we keep him confined in a small area until we've got a plan for surgery.
Okay.
It's a big day for Nico, as he'll be undergoing major surgery on his fractured hip.
He's so handsome, isn't he?
He's already had his pre-meds, so James and nurse Alice can now prepare him for surgery, administering the anaesthetic and clipping his fur. As this is an advanced procedure, veterinary surgeon Andy will be leading this complex operation.
It's going to be probably ideal if we can get the cat further up this end of the table.
Although both hip joints are fractured, he will focus on the right-hand side today. The procedure is known as femoral head and neck ostectomy, and the aim is to restore pain-free mobility to Nico's fractured hip.
Problem is, whenever they've had a fracture like this,
Everything's going to be just so contracted, isn't it?
contracted. Because he's a British Shorthair, which means, you know, he's
He's got some decent thighs.
he's got some thighs on him, which is slightly getting in the way of our approach, but we're getting there. If you just get your finger in there, so there's pelvis, and then if you slide your finger up here, so we're just going to need to get the osteotome and start cleaning that up.
Andy needs to remove the ball of the ball and socket joint, which requires him to work around several layers of tissue.
It's still a very difficult operation, but there is a little bit more on our side, having found that we can sort of get to where we need to get to, basically. So we've got the ball of the femoral head off. If you imagine it a bit like a mushroom, we need to get the stalk of the mushroom off the leg bone as well to make sure we've got a really nice, smooth junction between the hip bone and what's left of the leg bone.
The operation takes 45 intense minutes to complete. To see if it's been a success, Andy needs to take an X-ray.
Are we in a position, team, to transfer to X-ray and keep our fingers crossed? X-rays, take him.
I think that's really smooth.
I think it's as good as we can get. I'm very happy with that.
Nice work. Nice clean line, really.
Nice clean line there.
It's quite important that he starts moving around ASAP. So rather than crate rest, he's going to be on room rest. We're now going to have to do some aggressive rehab for a couple of weeks, then we're going to have to go and go in on the other leg, and fingers crossed that procedure goes as well as today's did.
Right.
Job's a good one.
Grapes aren't as tasty as they look.
Fern Britton Inside the Vet, brought to you by Petplan.